Our next guest is a Chicago-based writer and performer. She has read her essays at Steppenwolf, CIC, The Annoyance, and other theaters and venues around town. Relatively Meaningless, her solo show featuring a reading of her comedic essays and stories, was recently Chicago Reader Recommended. She improvises weekly at I.O. and CIC theaters and occasionally reads at Flatiron Comedy and Spitballin' at Quencher's Saloon. Please welcome Gina DeLuca.
I got you.
Hi guys. Okay, so I'm gonna read a personal essay. It's all true. It's called Brightest Star in the Sky. My mother Car's dream is that I'm actually Jennifer Lawrence. Both my dad, Pip, and Car love Jennifer Lawrence and think we're a lot alike. For one, we're both performers. And two, despite our great and early success, we're pretty down to earth. Pip once tried to forward me an email from the Huffington Post entitled, "Day Jobs These Actors Had Before They Made It," but instead accidentally sent me top 10 hottest photos of Jennifer Lawrence. He then followed up with an email that read, "Hi Gina, that website changed some. If you got the wrong one, here's the one I intended to send." 2 months later, when I came home for Christmas, he pulled me aside and said, "I don't want you to think I'm having weird thoughts about Jennifer Lawrence. She's a young girl and I'm 65 for Christ's sake." The incident had really been weighing on him. I try to explain to them that Jennifer Lawrence was discovered by an agent when she was 14, walking near an H&M photo shoot in New York City one day, and then instantly became a model. Just because I may be the best looking one next to Pip and Car, depending on who you ask, doesn't mean I'm on the fast track to becoming an Abercrombie model turned Oscar-winning actress. Still, I figured if I was performing 3 nights a week, I may as well try to be an actor, which is not the way anyone becomes an actor. Unless you're obsessive about acting, it's pretty hard to do. However, I managed to find representation and quit my full-time job to go on auditions. Pip and Car were thrilled. "Call us from the red carpet," they'd say. My first audition was for Kotex at an important casting agency in Chicago. Like an art museum, the place is lofty with high ceilings and abstract paintings on the walls. Everything is made of granite and glass, projecting the message that this is the big time. I can barely find the receptionist to check in because it's difficult to see over all the models who are swaying around the place like reeds. In the waiting area sit several women my age looking over the script. They glance up when someone walks in, deciding how much more likely she is to get cast based on her appearance. It occurs to me that we're all just cuts of steak in a display case, hoping to be picked for a barbecue. "Jessica!" a young, manicured-looking woman yells as her heels click into the room. "Oh my God, Casey!" squeals Jessica, jumping up from her seat. Jessica and Casey hug each other like childhood friends who've lost touch over the years and then ran into each other at the airport. Predictably, they actually only know each other from previous auditions while competing for the same jobs. They talk excitedly about gigs they booked or didn't and appear happy when one of them was chosen over the other. I try to get the woman next to me to look over so I can say, "How about this?" with my eyebrows. But she won't do it. The script reads exactly like a Kotex commercial would, but something about seeing it written rather than watching it on TV makes it seem especially corny. I'm auditioning for the part of Under Warrior. The story is that a group of radical college women wearing hoodies and black jeans run into the dorm room of a character named Stella who was away and apparently left her door unlocked. We're supposed to ransack her drawers and dresser looking for no-name tampons and replace them with Kotex tampons to help our cause, which is to save the undies. A slogan we've written on rally signs. The point, I guess, is that if you don't use Kotex, you may as well menstruate directly into your leggings. When Stella returns from wherever she was, the lookout is supposed to yell, "Caw-caw!" To which we all respond, "Caw-caw, caw-caw!" and frantically run out of the room. Stella looks surprised as she walks up with her dopey boyfriend in basketball shorts, whose only line is to say, "What?" while he stands around trying to circulate blood to his brain. We take Stella under our wing, and she thanks us for not letting her continue to bleed through her pants like she had been doing for the last 8 years. Throughout the audition, I do my best to feign self-assuredness and mask derision. The concept feels out of touch in the same way as when a middle school principal displays posters in his office of Shaquille O'Neal and Eva Mendes holding books with the quote, "reading rules." Just chat and giggle like girlfriends talking about your period. No, come up with some crazy names for it, the director tells us. This is the moment when I realize that I hate acting. The only phrase I can come up with on my own is "strawberry smile." But I end up saying "red tide" like everyone else. To be cast would mean a substantial paycheck, but my hypersensitivity to anything remotely cheesy means I'll inadvertently sabotage any success I could ever have as an actor. I don't know why, but I instantly withdraw into a shell whenever I'm called upon to blend in and do things like cheer for a sports team, or clap in rhythm, or talk about my period in a flirty way for money. Putting my name on something I think is dumb feels unconscionable to me, unless it's improv, which anyone will tell you is as dumb as it gets, and no one even gets paid. But sucking it up for a Kotex commercial for a chance at thousands of dollars, pandery and lowbrow. My bad attitude must have read clearly on camera despite my effort to hide it, because I didn't get called back. In fact, during that whole year I was an actor, I only got called back once at my very last audition before my agency dropped me. Advocate Health was casting a commercial advertising free mammograms. I was called in to read for Flat-Chested Woman. What a beautiful, bright, shining star I had fun with. I could almost see Jennifer Lawrence when I looked at her. While waiting for the audition, I met a couple other halvesies like myself, also trying out for Flat-Chested Woman. They didn't seem nearly as put out as I was, but maybe they were just seasoned actors. The script featured short vignettes of women of all shapes and sizes doing everyday things while having sassy dialogues about their tits. Saying lines like, "My breasts, double trouble." And "I love showing off my girls." The message, of course, being that no matter what's happening on your torso, all women can benefit from getting screened. My role as Flat-Chested Woman was to say disparaging things about my concave, disgusting chest plate that I'm supposed to keep, while standing next to a buxom model I needed to act jealous of, who was also asked to hate herself. In front of a group of strangers, I got to say lines like, "Ugh, I look like a chalkboard." And "Man, must be nice to have cleavage." To which the model looked down at me and pouted, "It's not all it's cracked up to be." fine because earlier in the commercial, full-figured women deliver lines about how they love their curvy shape, so the everyone is beautiful message was already being conveyed loud and clear. I did such a good job looking prepubescent and ashamed of myself that I was asked to do it all over again at the callback. This time, though, a different underwear model told me in a husky voice, "Big boobs aren't all that, you know." To which the script told me to reply, "Easy for you to say." I thought at this point in the commercial it would be fitting for Herb Alpert to play in the background while I dance with my elbows, knees, and ribs flailing around like an apoplectic marionette. "Get your grams, ladies," I'd say, a human cartoon cartwheeling off screen and then hopefully off a cliff. Instead, we tried out a few different versions of the same conversation to see which one would best communicate that although we may look alarmingly different, as women, our struggles with bad body image and breast cancer are exactly the same. Apparently, though, I didn't do as well as one of the other xylophones who also got called back and failed to land the part. Despite my feelings about the role, I was almost disappointed. I figured, hey, if I have to look like a freaky little paperclip, I may as well get paid for it. But in the end, all I got was disgusted for a month whenever I glimpsed down at myself in the shower. I'm glad I didn't have to tell my parents that I'd be featured as a representative for bony women everywhere in a commercial about mammograms. But I don't have the heart to tell them that because I didn't book a single job in the year I was lucky enough to have representation, I got fired 3 months ago. To be an actor, you have to be a certain amount of delusional first and foremost, a characteristic completely antithetical to my cynicism, but one that Pip and Care have in spades. "Keep pushing, Gina," they tell me when we talk once a week. "You'll get your break soon. You just gotta be ready for it." Thank you.